Okay, here we go. Season number 2 of the World of Presentations podcast, brought to you by 356 Labs. This podcast helps you write, design, and deliver better presentations with insights from our experience gained by working with some of the top brands in the world. My name is Boris, and today together with me is also
Iva.
And today we are rebooting the podcast, which was more or less that for the last
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. And so the main idea of today's episode is to kind of brief you guys and update you guys on what's new in the presentation industry. So, let's start. So, before talking about the presentation industry, however, it's 4 months also, so a lot of things changed in our shop. What changed in our company for the last 4 months? Briefly.
So briefly, if we can start with, I think people have already seen it all throughout social media and all of the channels that we have. It's the fact that we have a brand new, very cool,
beautiful,
like really beautiful office where everyone is super happy to be at every day. And that's also the place where we are already having our workshops and events.
Yeah.
So
We've
already done, I think, 2 workshops here, 3
Yes.
workshops here.
2 or 3, and now a lot more are coming.
Yep, a lot more are coming in the next months. Because
storytelling, PowerPoint, slide design, what else? Database
will have
Slide,
presentations for IT people, etc., etc. But the thing about this office and what we really liked about it was the fact that there is a whole room that we're using for not just workshops and trainings, but also meetings with clients where we can stay and they can rehearse and we can make sure that their stories are built in a way that resonates also with them, because we give them kind of the stage of where they can deliver their presentations in front of us so that we can give them feedback.
Yep. That is one thing. The office and the workshops is just one thing. Then we have like not a lot, but a few more people joining the team. So we have 2 more people that just joined. We have one designer, and we also have one person that is with a mixed role, more or less sales/project manager. So we are welcoming them very soon. I think that when this episode is going to be public, they are already going to be announced, but still, it's something new. And we are also on the hunt for other people, meaning we are searching for what?
We're looking for an art director that is going to lead the whole design team. We're looking for one more senior designer. And we're looking for one person that we can say it's kind of a copywriter, but more or less a storyteller, because that will be the person who is going to take care of the stories of the presentations for our clients.
Yeah. So if you are one of those people, let us know. Let us know. So what else is different? Obviously, we are rebooting the podcast. Obviously, I really believe that you are going to find out a very big difference in the way the podcast sounds. That there are a ton of reasons why that would be the case for the future. However, there won't be just our own podcast sessions, meaning where we are going to be sharing tips and tricks. There are also going to be interview sessions with very, very interesting people. And some of them are already recorded. So stay tuned, as we did for season 1. Each and every week there will be an episode, and in the upcoming week, the week after you listen to this podcast, we have a guest, and she is a fashion photographer. So what is the common between fashion photography and presentations? We'll see next week.
Yep, with the new office came a lot of advancements from technological perspective. One of which was with the podcast. We're upgrading a lot more stuff apart from that, but you will see that in the near future. Yeah,
that is for sure. So last but not at least, a few weeks from now, when we're recording this podcast, I'm traveling to Seattle for the so-called MVP Summit, which means that we're going to be talking with the Microsoft product group. These are the people that actually write PowerPoint and build PowerPoint, which is very interesting. And then I'm flying to San Francisco to speak in front of them in their other office, which is going to be really interesting experience, I would say. And then in April, we're in London. this is for what?
Yeah, so London is a very also special event because we're going to be there for the Global Excel Summit.
Yeah.
It might sound strange because it's not a specifically presentation related event, though if you think about it, when it comes to presentations, we often talk about how to present data effectively.
Yep.
So during this event, we'll have one session during the general program, and then we'll have one day with a workshop.
Yeah.
But what's more, we are going to have a booth there. So we are currently preparing for that and working on having our materials and the design for our booth. So I believe it's going to be an extremely interesting experience for us, and personally, I can't wait.
Yeah. By the way, that event, the Global Excel Summit, is one of the best run events I've ever seen. Thea, who runs the event with her team,
they're part of the TEL Productions.
The TEL Productions, exactly. We are going to link to the event for sure and to their company. But these guys are just simply phenomenal. It's really so easy to work with them. And at the same time, the event, even on a topic like Excel, you see that even an Excel event could be a premium type of an event.
Yep.
They are caring about each and every detail. They know very well what a premium event means because they actually worked for Apple.
Yeah.
And organized the event, some of the events for Apple, which is here to tell you something. Okay, last but not least, expect a lot more in regards to our brand, in regards to our website, and in regards to our online courses. A lot of things are coming up. We were very, very quiet in the last few months. And I hope and I believe that very soon you will understand why we were quiet.
So if we actually go to the content and
to something that will be of use to you and not
I
just
think the
spam
previous
you.
one was also of use because you might get interested into the events, to the workshops and trainings. By the way, if you want to learn more about that, just follow us on every social media that is out there, and also make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter because the seats that we have for the workshops that are happening at the office are super limited, and usually for a day or two they are gone. So if you want to be part of any of the workshops that are coming in the next months, just make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter.
Yep.
So, Boris, what's happening in the presentation world?
What changed in the industry for the last 3 or 4 months? What changed is not that much in regards to the storytelling skills or the delivery skills. There are not that many new findings in that world on how do we build effective stories or how do we go on stage and deliver in a proper way, let's put it this way. However, the design phase, the presentation design, the slide design phase changed again because Microsoft are again pushing new updates to the product, and they are continuing to push some dramatic updates into PowerPoint for Office 365. So let's go through those updates and give you guys context of what changed. And if you're Office 365 subscriber, you may see those changes already in PowerPoint, or if not, you may need to wait just a little bit more and then you'll see them. We are talking about them because all of them are already public. So here we go.
Yep. But you missed something though. So if you think about it, story hasn't changed. Indeed, the rules of how to create a great story for your presentation are still the same. Design is changing because of the software, also design trends, creativity flows, etc., etc. One thing that hasn't also changed is the delivery part, because we always say that in presentations there are 3 things that are making one presentation truly effective. So it's the story, the design, and the delivery. So story and delivery haven't changed, but design, it has. And now you'll see why.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know whether or not people will hear the fact that our dog is actually drinking water just behind us. But we'll see that in the after this episode is being edited. So what changed in PowerPoint? Because nothing changed dramatically in Google Slides or Apple Keynote or Prezi for that matter in the last 4 months. So the first small thing that changed is that Microsoft are adding hex colors. Hex colors to PowerPoint, which means...
which is...
Finally,
I mean.
which is very useful because every brand, every organization out there has their brand colors in both RGB and hex, not to mention SMIC or whatever they are called. And the fact that hex was missing was sometimes like adding a few more steps to the people who wanted to do presentations and to design slides on brand. And they were trying to figure out how to convert RGB to hex and vice versa. So now that is not going to be needed anymore. Hex will be all across and will be in the custom colors where you are going to be able to find and just copy paste your hex color.
Yep, that makes the life of some people really, really easy. I've had actually a case with a client where the whole company, and it's a 1,500 people company, they're all using PowerPoint and all their brand colors were in hex. And people are like, I'm just trying to find something that looks similar to that color because first they didn't know how to convert from hex to RGB and use it in PowerPoint. Yeah. And second, it's like, it's too complicated to do it. Yeah. And now that makes it so much easier for people that have just the hex color for some reason and don't have the RGB color to use their branded colors, which is
hex
fantastic.
Is brilliant to have. It is something that like everyone, I believe, was waiting for so long, and now is going to happen. It will be in Office 365 very soon. We are recording this episode in February 2020 and still not in the public builds of Office 365, but it's like now a matter of a week or so or something. So expect it very soon. In the place where you're changing the color of the text, the shapes of any other object in PowerPoint, you'll see now in the custom colors not only RGB but also hex. So that is great. Bravo to Microsoft for that one.
Yes.
So what is next?
So one thing that I think we've already talked about before, but now it's actually a reality. It's the fact that you can save shapes or, for example, icons or objects, charts, whatever, slides even, to a SVG format.
Yeah, scalable vector graphic.
Scalable vector graphic, which means that no matter how much you enlarge that object or how bigger you make it, it's going to keep its proportion. So it's not going to look distorted.
Quality, not proportions.
Yes, the quality. So it's not going to look distorted after that.
Yeah, so you can create... PowerPoint started supporting SVG like a year or I don't know when exactly. So you are able to bring in SVG objects into PowerPoint like icons, for example. But now we are actually able to create, let's say, a chart and export that chart as an SVG, which means that I can later on reinsert that into another presentation and it will look as sharp as we want it to be. Like it is perfect. So that is also true for whole slides. You can go and save the presentation as SVG. So this is a really cool feature that Microsoft added very, very recently. It's now, at least on my machine, I already have it.
Yep.
And it works very, very well up until now. So SVG support just got even better in PowerPoint for Office 365.
Yep, I have it as well, and indeed it works like a charm.
Yeah. So the next thing that changed was, I think we haven't talked about it, even though I showed it at Microsoft Ignite when I spoke there last year. And we also did a webinar that kind of included that topic, and it's related to the so-called design ideas and the topic of templates, corporate templates. We build a lot of templates for our clients, and we build them in a very different way. As you can see from our website, we analyze the needs of the organization or the event. Then we talk with the speakers or the people who are going to be using it. And then we build a template so that it fits their needs, and then we train them, right? Very different experience than the normal experience. However, up until now, Microsoft had this cool technology that was called Design Ideas that was suggesting you ideas when you put your text or shapes or images or charts or whatever. It was giving you ideas based on, of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Some of those ideas were not the greatest ideas on the planet,
yes,
but
quite a lot of them, and they were not great because they were not in the style of your brand. Yep. Which means that Microsoft were going to kill the colors of your brand. They were going to give you suggestions based on just their perspective and not taking in mind your font, your colors, your shapes, etc., which in the corporate world makes this more or less unusable.
Unusable, indeed.
However, now they upgraded the Design Ideas feature. Up until now, they are calling it Enterprise Designer, even though we are seeing it also with a few more other names.
Yeah, like designer for branded templates.
Yeah, we are going to link an article on that one in the show notes also. Plus, we are going to link a webinar where we showed how this thing is actually working. But what's important here is that now, if your template was built in a proper way, what will end up happening is that if you are building a new slide through your with the help of your template, if you go to the new slide, if you build a new slide, you choose a layout, then you add the objects that you want to have on that slide. And if you now click design ideas, it will actually take the layouts and the style of your template in mind and give you suggestions based on it so that you stay on brand. And that is a completely different thing and a completely different experience. Again, you see it in action in the video that we are going to link in the show notes. It is something very, very cool. And when we saw it last year at the MVP Summit, because we see features a bit earlier, we were shocked. We were so pleased to see that, because now there are way more excuses for people to create silly things inside of the organizations that they work with. Like how can it be that your logo is blue but you add pink on your slides? That is mind-blowing sometimes when you see it. Now with the help of Enterprise Designer, and if you have a proper template, again, if it's proper template, because it has some
specifics to it and how it should be built.
Your template becomes an even more powerful weapon, which is absolutely fantastic. Again, really good work by Microsoft here.
Yep. And the thing is, you mentioned that it's working in its AI base, which also means for a organization, if one person is designing a slide using the enterprise designer, this also leads to the other people that are part of that organization.
We can guess that will happen. However, whether or not that will happen now or whether or not it's happening right now, we are not sure.
Yep, we haven't tested it yet, so
we don't know. Makes absolutely. So if there are machine learning algorithms behind the scenes, it makes sense that it's going to be teaching itself.
Yep.
Is it going to happen based on the domain and based on the organization that you're at? We will see, because we still don't know about it, but it absolutely makes sense to happen, which means that more or less...
the people that, for example, are not that strong in designing slides will have much better help, and that will come from the people that are designing slides and that are doing it in a really, really good way.
Meaning that if you imagine a situation where you add a few objects and you choose 100 people choose for similar type of objects the same layout, the algorithm will learn from that, and the next time somebody in that organization has similar objects to add on the slide, the first suggestion on top will be the one that 100 people already used, which is
really
super cool. If
really
that happens, that will be super cool. And I think there is, like, if it's a machine learning algorithm, there is no way for that to not happen. It should it should work, but let's see.
Yeah, that's what I think, and I think it's going to be of a real help, especially to people that usually at trainings they say, I have some colleagues that are doing very well with the slide design. I'm not. How can I improve? And of course, we give them advice on how they can improve, but since this is going to be used by many people, it might be extremely useful for especially those people that are not really good and do not have the capacity, the time, etc. to work and make better slides.
Yep. So what's next? What else?
So what's next is something that I'm actually very passionate about, is how we can make presentations more inclusive, meaning that people with, let's say, special abilities can also understand what we are talking about during that presentation, and not only people who simply do not understand the language that we speak in, how they can understand what we are speaking in for that particular topic. So one thing that is new is the captions and subtitles.
That's a big one.
Yep, and that's a big one because you can add in real time subtitles for your presentation, meaning that when you start talking, it's going to start writing what you are saying.
Yeah, meaning that it will be creating subtitles for your speech in real time, which means that you need an internet connection and as good as a microphone as you can get.
The better the microphone, the better internet connection, the better the subtitles. And what's cool about it is that it can work with a few languages now, and I think that they are going to add more as time goes by, because you can, for example, translate from English to Spanish
You
super
can speak
easily.
in English.
You can speak in English, and
the audience can see Spanish
the audience can
subtitles.
see Spanish, which is
That is insane.
super cool.
That is insane. By the way, we tested this out I remember that we tested it in Microsoft with, I believe, Chinese to English when this thing was in a very early beta, and we understood what the person who was speaking in Chinese told us. It was not perfect, but we understood what this person was telling us.
And that was still in the beta version.
And this was a year ago. We are here testing it with a lot of our clients from Bulgarian to English and vice versa, and it is quite good. I have to say, like, it is quite good for something that early. So again, obviously behind the scenes there is machine learning and artificial intelligence and on and on and on and on, which means that it will be getting better and better and better. So yeah, if you don't know that one, it's in the slideshow tab. If you're on Office 365, go to a slideshow tab and you should see subtitles. You have to enable them, and then you have to choose their position. Where do you want them to go? On the left, right, top, bottom, etc. And then miracles start to happen.
Yep, indeed. Yeah. What's next?
So one more that changed, one more new feature that is a big deal before the biggest deal. Let's say this way. This is something that's still just in PowerPoint Online. Microsoft are now starting to push a lot of the new features and improvements on the online version on the online edition, but the online version of PowerPoint first, which means that if you are on Office 365, you can go to, I believe for everyone, this link should work, portal.office.com, log in with your account, and from there you can choose PowerPoint, build a presentation completely online. They are now doing a lot of the new changes there, and one of the new features that was announced, and it's still only in the online version, it's still not on the desktop version, is the so-called Rehearse with Coach. That one is also very impressive stuff, because what it does is it helps people rehearse their presentations. Your computer, your microphone is actually recording you, right? So the closer you are or the better microphone you connect, the better. And of course, again, you need a Wi-Fi connection or internet connection in general. However, as you are speaking, Microsoft are currently giving you suggestions as you are speaking. So if you, let's say, Microsoft will immediately tell you, you just said or whatever. And at the end, once you end your rehearsal, you get a dashboard which looks very, very fancy. If I have to be honest, it looks very fancy, and it gives you ideas and suggestions on what you can improve and more or less how you went on with this rehearsal. Whether or not your pace was very fast, whether or not you were slow. They will give you suggestions in regards to whether or not you said very often, whether or not the language that you are using was inclusive. That is very impressive stuff.
That's next level stuff for me.
That's next level stuff. So if, for example, you say that the management team is just out of men, is consisted only out of men, and you say, well, when the management team, and then you say he did,
yep,
it will immediately give you an idea that you may want to use we did or they did, etc. Plus, one of the maybe the most funny ones is that Microsoft are actually scanning the words on your slide, plus scanning what you are saying. And if you repeated the words on your slide, Microsoft will give you feedback afterwards saying, it looks like that's
you're reading the slides.
It looks like you're reading your slides.
Don't memorize them. I think it was something like
be more creative them. Or try to be more creative or something like this. I don't know. But it was funny.
This. Don't memorize them. Just summarize in 3 points and
it was something very cool.
And elaborate on them. Yeah, but it was a cool one.
Yeah, and that one is again just a brand new feature. It's already in PowerPoint Online for everyone who's Office 365. That maybe we said that nothing changes for the story part and the delivery part, but I think that actually changes the delivery part, because now not that you don't need, but it's great thing to have.
It's an algorithm thing to have.
It's it is an algorithm. It's not a personal coach. It's not someone like us or something like this, but it's still something. Like, it is still something. And if you're speaking in English, German, or like most of famous, I would put it this way, languages, you can just click the rehearse with coach and go do your dry run and see the results and kind of fine tune afterwards.
I think it saves you actually a lot of time, because what do we advise our students? Just record yourself with your iPhone or just with your camera, and then just analyze what happened.
Yep.
So if you see a lot, when you're saying a lot of etc., we tell them to just write that thing down. And with the rehearse coach, what happens is that you get at the end one very, very pretty dashboard where you see how, as you already mentioned, how long was your talk, were you using any parasite words, etc. So it's very, very cool. And I always advise, when students can use it, I always advise them to do.
Plus, it will be getting better, so we're definitely going to be checking this feature out constantly so that we see what improvements there are in this one. If you don't have of 55, but a feature like this looks compelling to you, well, then you may want to check out a mobile app that's called Orai. O-R-A-I.
With one bird.
With one bird as an icon. If you don't have obviously 65, but you are looking for something similar to this, check out this app Orai. It is a great app, and it's, if I have to be honest, it's a bit more advanced now than the Rehearse with Coach Microsoft feature, but still it is both of them are on the market. Both of them can work for you. Check them out and see how they go.
Yep, definitely. I think Orai had also a paid version. So with the paid version, there are even more.
There are exercises.
There
are a lot of
more
cool
exercises and a lot of cool things that you can do. So if that one doesn't work for you, check Orai. It's also a great tool to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest improvement in PowerPoint since we were last here in November. What is it?
So it's the so-called live presentations. That's something really, really cool. Now that we are talking about it, I did a webinar last week, or was it 2 weeks before? So I did a webinar in February, which was about online presentations. And honestly, I didn't speak about that. Maybe I should have, because it's a really cool way how you can engage your audience.
Yeah, so the presentation live thing was something that we also saw last year in March, I believe March 2019 in Seattle. That one blew us away because the guys there just said, well, we figured out that there is no way to fight with the mobile phones, so we decided to include the mobile phones into the game. And we were like, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? And what the PowerPoint live presentation feature or addition, I don't know how to even call this. Like, it is to me, it looks like a separate product or a feature, or anyway, it will be there very soon. However, what this means for everyone in your audience, or for you as the audience, is that nowadays, very soon, not nowadays, but very soon, you'll be able to scan a QR code or go to a specific link through your mobile phone. No app required here.
And also tablet or
any device.
Any mobile device, pretty much.
Any device. I remember the Microsoft, let's enable every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Yeah, Satya is the best. So you'll be able to scan that QR code, go to our website, and then once you go there, once you go to that link, if you are late, for example, for the call, not for the call, but actually this will be able to, you'll be able to use it for an online call also. You'll be able to go back to the slides which you missed. You are going to be able to collaborate with everyone in the audience, meaning that you will be able to rate, like, comment under each and every slide, which is very, very different stuff that we saw before. Like, this was possible only with third-party tools before, which were quite expensive, I would say. And again, they had quite a lot of limitations in that regard. Plus, you are also going to be able to enable subtitles for yourself in different language. So now imagine the speaker talking in English, and everyone, because the audience is so diverse in terms of like their nationalities, everyone will be able to enable subtitles in their own language in real time. This is crazy stuff. This is insane. And that, I believe, changes again maybe the delivery type of thing, the presentation skills of the speaker and how a presentation is more or less delivered. Once the presentation is over, you are also going to receive a very cool survey, scorecard for the speaker. And at the end, you as the speaker get these insights from your audience that you are not able to get before, and more or less use them to adapt, to change, to do some additional things after the presentation is over. I'm really looking forward to seeing this in production. You will see we are going to link in the show notes a video clip by Microsoft which shows you how this thing will work. It's coming up very soon. Stay tuned on it because we are for sure going to test it on our blog in more detail. But this is a game changer, I believe, for everyone who speaks and everyone who uses PowerPoint nowadays, which means more or less everybody out there, more or less.
Yep, and they've included also reactions, so you don't have just the like and dislike. You can love something, you can be surprised.
Facebook style.
Yeah, it's the same emoticons that we have actually in Teams. For example,
Teams?
when you're using Teams, you have an option to like, love, or be surprised by a message. To have that there, I think it also gives you a suggestion for the top slides. For example, which were the top slides that people were
engaged with.
They were most engaged with, they liked the most, or they were looking at the most, or how many times they were going back to those two slides.
Complete game changer. I mean, that is a complete game changer. And what's coming up next, I don't even know. I'm really looking forward to the MVP Summit after 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to speak about what I saw there because we are under a very strict NDA and stuff like that. However, that is here to say, and maybe we can wrap this up with this one, that is here to say and to remind everybody out there who is using PowerPoint or who has PowerPoint installed on their machine, especially the Office 365 version, that PowerPoint is not what it used to be. Many of our clients, I would say most of our clients, which are some of the top brands out there, have PowerPoint, have Office 365, and they think that Office 365 and PowerPoint inside of Office 365 is the same as it was in 2010. It is so different. It is just a completely different animal and has so many other features nowadays that enable everybody to build completely different presentations without them being designers or without them being, hiring coaches or whatever it is. So if you are using Office 365, we are, by the way, maybe it's right for us to say here that we are not Microsoft salespeople or anything like this, like not at all. But when they're doing something cool, we should
give them the credit.
I mean, if Apple starts to do the same things, we would for sure record an episode for them. Google is also not improving in the last few months. The latest thing that they added, at least in my, one of the latest things they added was guides and format painter that you can which is called paint format in their tool, that now you can double click on it. Wait a minute, this has existed in PowerPoint 10 years ago. Come on, really. Anyway, of course, so yeah, if you're using PowerPoint Office 365, check those features out, check what you have, because you maybe also have things like 3D, you maybe also have things like Zoom, Morph, not to mention Morph. What else? Dictate is also there in the game, which you can use to kind of transcribe your words. There are a lot of new things in that tool that can help you out. And if you are not using Office 365, but you want to be able to get and build presentations that are on the next level, and your organization doesn't have Office 365, maybe it makes sense for you to check it out because it costs $10 per month. Come on. It is.
And you can have it on 5.
On 5 devices.
It was not 5, it's 6 devices actually.
Maybe, I don't know.
You can have it on 6 devices.
It is $10. $10 per month, and you get all of those innovations on your machine and 5 more devices or 4 more devices, no matter what the case is. Anyway, so maybe I think we should wrap this episode up with this. Anything else? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's it for today's episode. We hope you now kind of learned what's new in the last 4 months in the presentation industry. In the meantime, shoot us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or as Iva said, on any other social media, and let us know what you think or what you want to hear from us. Visit 356labs.com, our website, where you should be expecting changes very soon, to learn more about how presentations can help you or your business. And if you want us to talk about anything or any specific topic,
just let us know.
Just let us know. Thanks for listening, and in case you found this episode to be very useful or interesting or of value to you, subscribe to the podcast, and why not even leave us a review on iTunes or even share it with a friend of yours if you think that they are going to appreciate it, right? So, see you soon and see you in the next episode. Bye.